After the game Chelsea played against Arsenal, after the performance they put in against Arsenal with 10 men, I just know that the worst thing, that the one thing they didn't want to come up against was this Leeds side. A Leeds side that has lost 4 games on the bounce, tied on points with West Ham going into this game in the relegation zone. This is the worst possible team you want to face after you just face one of your biggest rivals with 10 men for basically an entire half. And what did this game prove to us? That's exactly why these big teams hate going away to certain away grounds at certain moments of the season. Leeds 3, Chelsea 1, and you have to look at the result, and Leeds 100% deserved this result. They deserved this win. It was a win where I think Leeds would be looking at that Arsenal game, Chelsea-Arsenal game at the weekend, and just over the moon ecstatic, because this is the exact condition you want to play Chelsea in. Without Moises Caicedo, obviously the red card that he suffered against Arsenal with the Marino challenge. Reece James, after all he put into that game, he's not going to be, his injury history, you don't want to force, playing him in this game. Cole Palmer coming back from injury, and then Chelsea just having to rotate in this busy December period. Neto going to the bench, Gusto going to the bench, obviously Reece James, and obviously Caicedo's out. But the biggest loss for Chelsea might have been the fact that Wesley Fofana wasn't fit for this game. Wesley Fofana was not starting this game. That one was the biggest loss for Chelsea, in my opinion, because I think Chelsea could have, possession-wise, they could have dominated the ball, which they did. They still had the attackers that they needed up on the pitch. They could have brought Neto in. They could have brought Palmer in. They had that, but what they didn't have was that solidity in the back, and it showed with Wesley Fofana being injured. I think for me right now, Chelsea defenders fit. I think he's the best defender in the club, honestly. And you see why he's so key. They cannot play games without Fofana and without Kogo. Kogo's out the whole season. They cannot risk Fofana also not missing games, because that first goal. Look at the goal that Chelsea conceded in that first goal. It's almost like the same goal they scored against Arsenal, except this time it was more Jacobio running onto the ball. And if you've watched him in the past at Serie A and Udinese, this is a guy that's a dangerous guy in the opposition box, and he protects his own. He heads the ball out like his life depends on it. This is one of the worst players in the Premier League to leave open for a free header in your own box, because he's gonna hit the target, and that's exactly what he did. And then you just see Chelsea possession, but it's not really anything substantial. And I think it's because of the disjointed nature of the Chelsea lineup, right? Liam Delap has been a poor signing. This is not what they thought they would get from Ipswich Liam Delap. He's been completely anonymous throughout the season. João Pedro, he had a little purple patch at the Club World Cup, but this is generally who João Pedro is. He doesn't do much on the pitch. He really doesn't do much. Watch him at Watford, watch him at Brighton. He will have patches in the game, where he create, but he just doesn't do anything. Physically, he doesn't seem like he cares a lot of the time. And the final product, the final ball, the final decision making, the shot, it's never really on point from João Pedro. So you look at that Chelsea front line, Jimmy Gittins comes in. I've been on record saying he's not as good as Garnacho, so that's all automatically a decline in that position when Garnacho doesn't play or Pedro doesn't play, Neto doesn't play. Then you have the midfield partnership with Andre Santos and Enzo Fernandez. Yes, I'm not going to say, Sanchez is a poor player or anything like that, but it's not Caicedo, and you don't have the robustness of Caicedo in that midfield. You're going to suffer a little bit for it. But then the real issue was that back line. Cucurella, yes, we know his quality, but Badiashile, Tosin, and Chalobah, yes, in isolated moments is a good defender, but in that right back position, that's not what you want from a Chelsea right back, right? It's a poor. It's not where you want him to be playing. You want Gusto or Reece James in that position. That Chelsea backline was poor today. First goal was poor. The second goal, I can't really say too much about it being poor. But the strike from Tanaka is exceptional. Gets the ball. I think it was a pass to Enzo Fernandez. Can't really control it. Can't bring it under her spell. Falls to Leeds, and Tanaka just rips. I think Bogo plays a first time pass to Tanaka. He just rips it into the net. Extremely, extremely technical, just brilliant finish. And going into the second half, I'm thinking to myself, How are Chelsea going to get back into this game? They need Neto. They need Palmer. They need something. They need a player to step up and do something. And what happens? Neto comes on and he gets his goal. But after the goal, I didn't really see anything from Chelsea to suggest that they were going to dominate the game. They were going to be the dominant force in the second half. They were going to take the game to Leeds. I didn't see any of that in the second half. I saw a lot of possession, a lot of moving the ball around, a lot of touches and passes from Enzo Fernandez looking busy, but it didn't seem there was no clear-cut chances being created. There was no point in the game, that second half, where I thought, man, Chelsea are going to get the equalizing goal and they're going to go win this game. It seemed like Leeds were always the team. Leeds were the team with the better chances. Leeds were the team with the better opportunities, better positions. And it didn't really seem like Chelsea were. And I have to say, that Arsenal game at the weekend definitely looked like it took a lot out of this Chelsea players. It took a lot out of this Chelsea players. Having to play a game like that, and then I don't care who the opposition is, but going away like after a game like that is going to be difficult for any team. No matter how deep your squad is, no matter how, because even if you say your squad is deep and you bring in all the bench players, they're not going to have the chemistry to produce what the first team produces. So it was always going to be a difficult game for Chelsea, considering where they're going. Leeds, four losses on the bounce, needing a win to get out of the relegation zone. It was always going to be a difficult game. And then made even more difficult by the bozo moment between Gusto and Tosin for that third goal that Leeds scored. The pass to Tosin is poor. Tosin's touch is poor. Credit to Robert Sanchez for at least trying to rectify the situation, trying to throw, but it's great from Okafor. The fact that he slid in, fought for the ball, forces the save, and then Calvert-Lewin taps into the open net. From that point on, the game was over. There was no chance I could see Chelsea getting back into, even if they scored another goal, there was no way I could see Chelsea getting back into the game. It was just a poor performance from Chelsea. And it's a game where Chelsea fans, I don't know, but I'm assuming they're going to the game just thinking, just scrape out a 1-0 win. Scrape out an ugly 2-1 win, and we'll be okay with that. Keep our title pushing, keep our top four, pushing, keep our season chugging along. Just something, anything out of this game. And that was the exact opposite of what they got. Everything that they wish they could have got from this game, a 1-1 draw, a 2-1 win, a 1-0 win, any kind of scrape draw, exactly the opposite happened. And honestly, they got played off the park. And it's exactly why I say, after a game takes so much out of you mentally, physically, this is one of the worst kinds of teams to play against, especially in the midweek. Talk this off the following week. The midweek game, after a game like that, is the worst possible. But Chelsea have to look at where is the attacking kind of productivity coming from, because Cole Palmer is still kind of getting back into the swing of things. Pedro has been poor. Pedro, that is. Delap has been poor. Garnacho will give you things here and there. Yes, maybe. Esteval is still young. You can't really expect him to show up every single week. But that's really it. Garnacho and Esteval are the two guys you're kind of looking at. And Neto. They don't have a solid finisher. They don't have a number 9 that you can say, this guy, if you give him one chance a game, he'll take it. They don't have that. So you're looking at a bunch of midfielders, a bunch of 10s to kind of figure out ways to get 5, 6, 7, 5 to 10 goals a season, to kind of supplement the fact that your forward line is not going to do anything. I mean, Marguillo came out today, nothing again. And it's just surprising because Nico Jackson would be Chelsea's best forward right now. Chelsea's best number 9 right now would be Nico Jackson. And they were so eager to get him out of the door. And he would be their best striker at the current moment. But that defense, especially as constructed as it was today, was poor. But from a Leeds perspective, this is exactly the kind of game that kind of galvanizes your team. This is the kind of game that kind of puts that confidence back into your team, especially when you're playing Liverpool next at the weekend. You look at, okay, we can do this to Chelsea, then maybe we could do this to Liverpool as well. Why not? Why can we not beat Liverpool at the weekend? We just played an exceptional game, and I don't care what the situation or circumstances surrounding the Chelsea game at the weekend was, this is a game we can win at the weekend. This was a great performance from Leeds. Ampadu and Tanaka in that midfield were exceptional. They looked so solid in that midfield. And then you have to credit the front line. Credit Okafor. Credit Calvert-Lewin. Credit to just the Leeds front line. That's just the best I can put it. Credit to them, because when it came to opportunities for Leeds to push forward and attack, they did so with quality. I think 17 shots today. They did so with quality. They took the chances that they were given to them. They pressed well. They surrendered a lot of possession. Yes, you can understand Chelsea are going to dominate the ball home or away against Leeds. But when Leeds had the ball, they took care of the ball, and they got chances out of their possession. The limited possession they had, they got chances out of it. And you have to look at Leeds and say, okay, after this performance, out of the relegation zone, hopefully West Ham, don't beat United tomorrow, and you can stay out of the relegation zone and go into the Liverpool game kind of with a little bit of pressure off of your back, and going to, and seeing how Liverpool have played this season. Why would Leeds not believe they can beat Liverpool as well? So it's a great win from Leeds. It's a great performance from Leeds, and it's one of those games where I look at Leeds now and I think to myself, could this team actually stay up? Could this team actually stay? Because I'm looking at the table right now. Wolves obviously look like they're going down. It's Burnley and it's West Ham right now fighting Leeds. Leeds generally, I think, have looked better than West Ham this season. So if I have to pick between West Ham, I think it's because of the pedigree of West Ham and they've been in the league so long. But if I look at it from just a logical perspective of what I've seen this season, I would back Leeds to stay up more than I would back West Ham to stay up. I don't know what Leeds fans think. I don't know how confident they are in staying up, but this is a great performance from them. A great performance, kind of kickstart their season. The last 2/3 of the season, this can be a great push for them. This can be a great momentum shifter for them. And if they manage to go and beat Liverpool at the weekend, then I will stand 10 toes on my opinion that I think Leeds should be able to stay up this season. So there's a long way to go in the season. I'm not saying this with any confidence or anything, but Leeds looked extremely good. And they haven't looked poor all season. They've had decent moments. They've had decent performances. They haven't looked as bad as the table shows, but they've had poor results in terms of losing. And they kind of had a period where they just kept losing. Now you get a win. Hopefully it can propel your team, and you can kind of continue that survival push that you started at the beginning of the season. So credit to Leeds. Chelsea, it's a poor performance, but it's not the end of the world, I think. I think it's one of those games where you can understand why Chelsea lost this game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very, very soon. Peace out.